All right, and welcome everybody to the Health Transformation webinar. And this is your host, Cade Archibald, and really excited to have you guys on today. We got some amazing content that we're going to be covering with why exercise is extremely important and how you can use exercise to really expand your longevity, quality of life. And and then we'll jump into like some definitions behind aging and what's happening in the World Health Organization side of aging and how they're looking at that. So some really cool stuff. So we got Regan here. Regan, how you doing?
Good. Hey, everybody. Nice to be here. We got, we're on the webinar. We've got our Instagram fans here. And so really happy to be hanging out with you guys.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to diving into this topic. I know we talk about this a lot when exercise. I think everyone understands that they should exercise. I think I think sometimes knowing why is important and understanding the underlying things, but then having some good ideas on how it can help, and then I'm really intriguing to see how that affects aging.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting, Cade, because one of the things I look at is exercising every day is something that, is a concept that was first introduced to me by the book Younger Next Year. And that book is, it's a gift I gave to mom and dad like maybe 15 years ago. And it's just been a staple of mine. But one of the things they looked at is as we age, we need more and more exercise. And I find that it's easier to be like 100% is easier than 99%. So if I just make it a goal, like every day, no matter what, maybe it's 20 push-ups and that's all I get in. I know I'm very strategic. I can get at least 6 good workouts in a week. And most weeks it's 7 really good workouts. But if I do that, it's much easier than saying, well, I'm going to take Wednesdays off and that's my off day. I just never feel as sharp if I'm not moving my body. So that's why we say, look, if you want to really live a long time and have robust health and have, what we believe more than anything is that people deserve to live a life that's fully expressive, it's free from pain, it's free from chronic disease. And the only way you can do that is if you have good physical health. And so exercise, there's some phenomenal benefits, which we'll get into today. And then we're going to talk about this, how exercise ties into aging and what you can do to really keep your health very robust for a long, long time. So let's jump in. First of all, let's talk about an exercise program. So a couple different exercises that I like. You can look at it as in the old school way of thinking, it was aerobic and anaerobic. These days, there's a lot more you can look at besides just aerobic and anaerobic. You want to start looking at, high intensity versus low intensity. You also want to be looking at, certain heart rate variabilities. And then you look at more restorative types of exercises as well. So I'll just kind of lay out my exercise pattern, Cade. Maybe you can talk about yours. And then if we have any questions on some of the ways that it might help in your own journey, any ways that we can help you, just plug it into the chat box and we will we'll help share it with you. But first of all, today is Wednesday. So this morning I did Pilates. And for those of you who've never done Pilates, it's awesome. My wife started taking me to that. And the crazy thing about Pilates is you isolate these tiny little muscles, and especially the muscles in my glutes, because that's something I've never had an abundance of, is a healthy booty. I've always had like the assless, I think is what it's called. Is that what you call it, Cade?
Yeah.
Cade's
back to legs.
Back to legs. It's just straight. And Cade's inherited the nice ghetto booty in our family. I did not get that. So
I got the booty genes.
Cade's got the booty genes. But we're doing all these like movements that really isolate the piriformis and the obturator muscles and just the larger glutes. And it's been phenomenal for me. And also just in my overall posture, I feel taller. I feel more open. I can breathe easier. So I did Pilates today. I did Orange Theory yesterday, but let's just start. Well, I guess we'll start on a Monday. So Mondays, every Monday, I do Orange Theory. Every Tuesday, Orange Theory. Wednesdays, Pilates. Thursday, I go back to Orange Theory. Fridays, I go to yoga. Saturdays, I go to Orange Theory. And then Sundays, it's usually something outdoors. So usually I'm getting my exercise by hiking up a mountain or, snowboarding all day. Maybe I'll jump into a yoga class on Sunday, or I'll go to the gym and do some heavy lifting. I'll do like a CrossFit style workout. So that's kind of my routine, and just a phenomenal process. What I feel like is as I keep pushing myself, not only is my endurance getting better, but my posture is getting better. So it just seems to flow into all the activities I love to do. So, Cade, what's your favorite exercise process, exercise routine?
So my favorite, that's tough. I really enjoyed, so for those of you that aren't familiar with Orange Theory, it's kind of a whole mixture of some running with like interval training on lots of different things. So that I really enjoy Orange Theory. Pilates. So Monday and Wednesday mornings, my wife Sierra teaches Pilates class. So that's been like, that was my staple until then. And she got pregnant, had to take some time off. I didn't go as much there, but yeah, Pilates is actually, I love it for me, more the core side of things. That's where I'm really trying to work on strengthening core.
Yeah.
I like to do meathead workouts too. Like
get some biceps,
do some bis and tries, and see if I can max my bench. No, I haven't maxed my bench for years and years, but I just like to have a mixture of things. So
yeah,
that's my big thing. Right now with like every kind of ounce of sleep I can get is really important.
Yeah.
And so like it's right now it's mostly squats and air squats and push-ups. That's
nice.
That's been my jam the last like month.
Great. So some of you out there, like Mike Buzzy, you say, wait till you turn 50. And you would know, because we know Mike's age. So he's older and he's crushing it. And Mike's been athletic his entire life. So think about some things you can do. So here's a place to start. So Tabata workouts, there's a Japanese researcher who looked at how we could get the maximum benefits of exercise in the smallest amount of time. So I tell my patients, I say, even if it's 8 minutes a day, and one of our challenges here at East West is we tell our patients, or we tell our employees, our team members, is we have our own wellness program, and they have to exercise at least 8 minutes per day. There's some meditation that's happening every single day, and there's also this time-restricted eating. And so if they do that throughout the course of the month, then there's a $50 award at the end of the month. Usually it's a gift card somewhere. And so 8 minutes a day, if you look at Tabata, it's 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. And there's, I'll share with you guys it's just called Tabata. So it's an app called Tabata. For those of you who can see that one right there, it's just a red circular app, and it's called Tabata. And it's so easy because it just beeps and it says, okay, exercise. And then you pause. And then so I'll set up 2 or 3 stations and I'll just rotate. So I'll do kettlebell swings for 20 seconds. Usually I can get in about 10 or 11 of those. And I'll use my 50-pound weight. And then it stops. And then I'll jump and grab the jump rope. And then I'll start jump roping. And then I'll go down and I'll do burpees for the next one. And then I'll repeat and do the kettlebell swings, pause for 10 seconds, jump rope, pause for 10 seconds, go back to burpees for 20 seconds, and then it all starts over. Rest for 10, go into the kettlebell. So Tabata is a great place to start. And especially if you're looking to burn more fat with your exercise, this is a great process. Now, the other thing is there's many of you who, you're like, man, I'm in my 80s. I don't want to get injured. And that's the last thing we want to have happen to you. And I also look at the differences in the cytokines. So there's certain inflammatory cytokines that can get built up in exercise, and there's more of the regenerative types of cytokines, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the other workout you can do to get more of the regenerative cytokines is like the super slow method by Doug McGuff. So Doug McGuff wrote a book called Body by Science. And I definitely recommend, if you guys have not read that, read the book Body by Science, and you can learn a lot about this workout. I actually summarized Tabata and I summarized Body by Science in the super slow method in my book. I believe it's in chapter 5 in your health transformation in that book. So if you've got a copy of that, you can easily go to that section right now and you can follow along and learn how to do these exercises. But the super slow method is where you're literally, I mean, you're doing as slow of reps as you can within a 2-minute time frame. And so your muscles go beyond fatigue. And it's the most crazy workout because literally you can do all the muscle groups in 12 minutes. So Body by Science is not meant to be like go and spend 2 hours in the gym. It's meant to be more efficient, where you're actually coming down for 30 seconds and you're going up for 10 and coming down and going up. And this whole process is very challenging. And one of the things that my patients tell me is they never felt confident when they're in the gym until they did the super slow method. And doing it that slow, you can really gauge the amount of weight that you can use and tolerate. And it's usually better to do it on a machine as well. So Body by Science, Tabata, those are some very simple places to start. I love the CrossFit, the WODs, the workout of the day in CrossFit. That's phenomenal. But and I try and do CrossFit WOD. Usually that will be kind of my Sunday alternative. I'll either do it in the house or I'll go to the gym and do that. And it's super fun. But if we look at the benefits, so we talked about the cytokines. So if you read the book Body by Science, you'll learn that your body actually has this process where if you're not in the building mode, you're in the degeneration mode. So your body can't stay, there's no such thing as normal. It's not like homeostasis actually exists in our body. Our bodies are always trying to adapt. And so if you're not pushing yourself and if you're not working out, then your muscles will automatically go into this atrophy mode. And that's where a certain cytokine kicks in and it starts, kind of degenerating your muscles. And on the reverse, if you have too much stress, one of the first things cortisol is looking for is it's looking for adequate amounts of sugar. So it will, if your body's in constant stress and you're not moving to get rid of that sugar flush, because anytime you have stress that increases, your adrenal glands cause your liver to push sugar into the bloodstream. So you have this instant energy source. And what happens if you have chronic stress is your body will start breaking down the muscles. And usually it's in the backs of your legs and in your butt. And so high stress people, you'll start to notice their legs and their butt shrink very dramatically because the muscles actually are getting eaten by the stress hormones. So there's certain cytokines that get released from that. So one of the best things you can do if you are in a stressful situation or if you sit a lot is you want to stand up at least every 20 minutes, move around, get your body moving, get the energy moving, especially if you're in a stressful situation. That's where you need to exercise even more because it will turn off those cytokines that are going to eat the healthy muscle mass in your body. So, Cade, you probably didn't realize that your body is actually you go into cannibalistic state just by stressing.
Yeah. Yeah, stress is not ideal, especially if you're not exercising.
Exactly. Yeah, and the crazy thing about it too is if you look at the amount of research that's come out recently on sitting, we're calling sitting is the new smoking. And one of the things we look at with sitting is we're sitting at least 8 hours a day. Many of us, it's more than 8 hours a day, and we're not getting up as much as we could. So one of the things that you want to look at is the difference between exercise and physical activity, because you need physical activity all day long. Now, if you look at cleaning the house, and a lot of people say, they'll put up all these stats of how many calories you burn when you clean the house, or you can go to, kind of a group class like Orange Theory Fitness, and you can see how many calories you're burning on the board. And those things are all cool and they're important. But really what you need to go along with is exercise is like medicine. That's the medicine part of the medicinal part of your physical movements. Whereas physical activity is something that our bodies need to be doing all day, every day. We need to be lifting things. If you look at how our ancestors, what their lives were like, I mean, they're moving rocks, they're hunting and gathering, they're homing in on their senses so they can understand, what direction they need to go in. They're really in tune with the environment, what's going on around them. Right now, what we have these isolated environments where we go from a warm building, we rush to our car that's already preheated, we jump in our car and then we drive, and then we get home and we make sure our house is at a certain temperature. But really, and we just put our bodies through, we have thwarted our ability to combat stress. And so I think this is one of the reasons why our life expectancy is about 77 right now. And 2013 is when we reached our peak in the United States with life expectancy. And now it's been coming down. So kind of interesting. And I think a lot of it has to do with the sedentary lifestyle. Cade, what else would you say has contributed to this lack of healthy aging?
Yeah, I think nail it on the head with more of a sedentary lifestyle. If you look at how we're progressing, more and more things are automated, and there's less and less manual labor required for a lot of things. So that's definitely a contributor. I think some of the other things is what we're consuming. We got pollution, especially up in Salt Lake. You have the inversions, so that's obviously going to take a toll on people's health and life expectancy. So some of the environmental impacts, toxicity exposure, how foods are processed and taken care of, those are all going to be huge things. I think we're on the cusp of some big changes. It feels like it is shifting to have cleaner food and more awareness around that, as well as if you look at air quality, that's starting to be a big. At least people are acknowledging it, and so I think hopefully we're heading in the right direction when it comes to that. But the problem is it seems to be getting worse and worse, and not better, even though there's more awareness around it.
Yeah, and someone just commented they've been watching Dr. Mark Kleiman. Oh, Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl. Good to see you. And if you look at exercise and brain health, the biggest thing that you look at with brain health is our brains love this neurotransmitter called brain-derived nootropic factor. And there's nothing on the planet that can increase brain-derived nootropic factor like exercise. I mean, there's a nootropic that you can spray intranasally called C-Max that we've been using from Tailored Compounding, and it's phenomenal for brain-derived nootropic factor. But exercise is one of the quickest ways to fix your brain. And so I think if I look at times in my life when I felt the best, when I've been thriving, it's always times where I'm more physically active. Now, I've gone through stages where I've actually pushed myself too hard, because what we've kind of focused on is, let's all get moving. Even if it's 4 minutes a day, you do a Tabata workout, that's great. It's better than nothing. And even if you have injuries, you've got arthritis, you've got issues with your knees, your low back, your shoulders, whatever it may be, there's still things you can do to modify this. And if you have a job where you're sitting all day, like one of our other listeners here, sorry, I can't read your name there, but if you're sitting all day, then set yourself up, where you have a timer where maybe every 20 minutes you just get up and you do 20 air squats. I mean, they're very simple to do. People may look at you funny in your office, but it's crazy how contagious that becomes. When you start exercising, everybody else starts thinking, I should move my body too. Or you get a desk that's a standing and sitting desk. because, then you can get like a little treadmill. They have those walking desks now that are life-changing. So I think we're trying to adapt our environments to what our bodies physically need, which I think is very critical, but don't make it complicated. But if I had one thing that I could challenge every single person on this program today, the number one thing would be exercise every single day. And don't give yourself a day off. I don't believe in cheat days. I think cheat days, what they do is they just create more inflammation, and it's harder to generate momentum. I think in health, what I'm learning is that 1% per day mentality. What if we could just get your body 1% healthier every single day? Imagine the change that you're going to have, the transformation after 100 days. Your body is going to be completely different than it was when you started that process. And so exercise is one of those things. And even if it's like, man, I didn't have time to work out, I've even, Cade, my house, I've got 52 steps from bottom to top. And if I'm like, man, I didn't have a chance to work out today, I just grab weights and I'll just walk up and down the stairs a few times. And then 5 minutes later, my workout's done and I'm hanging out with my family. It doesn't need to be where you've got to get the headband on and listen to Eye of the Tiger and get all pumped up. Just little things.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing for people to realize when you're looking at exercise. It can look like this big mountain of like, oh, I got to go to the gym and I got to like do this. And, and I think everyone can get into that funk, but at the end of the day, just making small things like, doing some push-ups. If your body doesn't function that way, you have a tough time doing push-ups, you can do wall push-ups.
Yep.
If you can't do air squats, you can sit down in your chair and stand up until you can, because you'd be surprised at how fast your body will adapt, and you'll be doing air squats soon enough. If you got knee problems, obviously, we need to make some adjustments there. But I think overall, just doing things to elevate your heart rate, to get your muscles activated, get your body activated. Some important things that I've looked at. The bigger the muscle you can activate, the more testosterone you'll stimulate. So like squats, deadlifts, things like that, they really spike your testosterone, which that's a hormone that's really going to help you build more muscle mass. Feel a little better, have more self-confidence, some of those things. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where, growth hormone, when you're doing the high intensity activities, you actually start burning fat at night when you're sleeping. That's when your growth hormone triggers. And so then all of a sudden you just become much more healthier version of yourself, because these growth hormones and insulin-like growth factors are some of your anti-aging hormones. So I think one of the biggest ways that you can, maintain and live a long, healthy, happy life is through exercise. Do it every single day, some type of activity. If you look at some of the blue zone areas in the research that's done on the centurions and the super centurions, the one common theme and thread throughout this is, yes, they had a pretty good diet throughout, but the other thing in the blue zones is they discovered that these people are actually pretty darn active. It's not like they had exercise programs. This is somewhat new, within the last, 80 years. But what would happen is these people in the blue zones, they actually are, they're walking everywhere they go. They're carrying things up the stairs. They're actually using their body, which is very critical. And so this challenge, one of the things that I did, I moved into where I was exercising too much. And so this is where I found that no matter what, if I was running, I had a goal and I was like, all right, I'm getting ready for this half marathon or this trail run or whatever it was. And so I was like, okay, on day 3, I'm going to run 6 miles, and then 8, and then 12. And then on weekends, this is where I'm going to do my long run. And I found that the problem with doing an exercise program where it's just very singular, like running all the time or doing yoga all the time or just Pilates or just Orange Theory or whatever it may be, your body does not get all the movements that's necessary. And then you start focusing and overdeveloping certain muscle groups, which then starts to put more of a burden on your joints. And so if you can do some more of the primal movements, we talk about those in our exercise program. And when you meet with our health coach, or for those of you who say, hey man, I want an exercise program that's customized to me, well, then one of the things we're offering you today is the opportunity to give our office a call. You know, depending on where you're at, you can go to our website, acueastwest.com, and then we'll get you set up for a free exercise summary so you can figure out what's going to be the best movements for you, so you're not putting an extra burden on your joints or on your body. If you have a goal, let's say you want to lose weight, then our health coaches will look at what exercise is going to actually put you in the fat burning mode the quickest, and they'll help get you that all set up. So this is a free 30-minute consultation. Usually we charge $85 for this, but you guys have been so awesome and so amazing today that all you need to do is go to the website, call whatever clinic's closest to you, and let's get you on the right exercise program based on what your needs are. So, Cade, anything you want to add to that?
No. I don't have anything to add other than, love you guys, and, keep moving.
Keep moving, because here's the cost. If you don't do anything about exercise, the worst thing that I see is when patients who come in and they are broken. I mean, they're 50 pounds overweight. They haven't moved their body much since high school. They've been sitting in the desk. They're wondering, why does my neck hurt all the time? Why is my low back always achy? Why is the arthritis in my knees degenerating? All these things start contributing. And the crazy thing is they've never moved their body. And so the cost of you not moving your body, not only are you going to put on more weight, you're not going to feel as good. Your brain is going to atrophy, because exercise hands down is the best thing you can do for your brain. One of the studies that I referenced, I believe it's in my book, Your Health Transformation, where they took kids, and one group of kids, they went through the typical classroom where you're in the classroom 7 hours a day studying, you have your typical recess breaks, but that's it. The other group, they only had them studying 2.5 hours per day, but then they had them playing and they were more physically active. So they're getting a lot more exercise and activity in. And then they looked and compared the test scores in both groups. And believe it or not, the group that was in the classroom less, but they were more active, scored better on the test than the kids that actually sat in classes all day. So I want you to remember that as you're actually looking at, how can I be more productive in my work? How can I, for those of you who are in school, how can I do better there? Well, the very first place to start is with exercise. And so I can't emphasize this enough. Do not put it off another day. Just start today. Right now, if you haven't exercised in 2 years, I don't care. Just get down and do push-ups. If you think you're fit, you've exercised every day, well, great. Think about what you can do to actually increase that. What can you do differently in your body that's going to shake things up? And maybe you're somebody who's more of a runner, and all you're doing is kind of running or doing the same exercise program every day, which is great. Think about, all right, how am I going to change this up to get my whole body healthy? Because this is one of the things that can transform your life, and it can transform the health of your family and our country. So appreciate you guys being on this, and we will see you next week. Don't forget to call our office for that free exercise consultation to help you get to your health independence. All you need to do is go to acueastwest.com, and we will hook you up.
Awesome. Have an amazing day, everybody.
See you later.
Bye-bye.